Hey, this is just going to be a quick little video review of this clothing rack. So let's take a quick look at this. So first thing I want to point out is that I'm really impressed by something about this clothing rack, and that's the fact that they make excellent use of the vertical. Many clothing racks tend to be quite long, but this one in particular is only about 48 inches in length. But it's the use of the up and down here which is really well done, because it allows not only for a large number of clothes to be hung on the rack itself, but you also get terrific storage space, both on the bottom and on the top if you need it. They've also got hooks on either side, which I'll show in just a moment, but again, it's really that use of the vertical space that I think is really well done. Now, the rack itself can be built with either caster wheels, of which there are 6. So if I just move over here, you'll see that there are 6 in total, or you can just have a more permanent fixture here if you want. I chose the more mobile option, which is to attach the caster wheels. Now, just to point out, the wheels are quite large, and each one has a brake as well, so that again, if you want to lock them in, you can do that as well. The trade-off, according to the listing, by choosing the caster wheels is that you lose a bit of strength. This, according to the listing, can hold as much as 600 pounds, whereas it can hold about 1,600 pounds if you choose the more permanent fixture. Now, in terms of things that I think are going to be really relevant to anyone who's going to be purchasing this, number one, assembly. How easy is this to assemble, and can one person do it? It is very simple to assemble, and when I think about the amount of options you're getting here in terms of storage and the option to hang clothes, but the fact that it is very easy to assemble and can be assembled by one person is terrific. This was no problem. They've designed this so that it's really easy to do. There's just a couple things that I'm going to point out, that if you are choosing to build this and you're on your own, number one, it is quite high, and so you might need some sort of small ladder or a step stool to put on, especially this top rack here. Because it's at the top here, it is quite high. It's over 70 inches in height, so you may require some additional ability to put that on, so in the form of a ladder or step ladder of some kind. Secondly, the rod that's used for hanging the clothes, that's going to require a Phillips head screwdriver, because the ends have large Phillips screws. So that's something you're going to have to provide on your own as well. So other than those two items, the actual process of building this and assembling this is pretty smooth, and it can be done by one person. So I was really happy with that, and it only took about 30 minutes to do. Secondly, this is quite a modular unit, and it's easy to, number one, hook this with other units if you buy more than one. But this singular one, you have these shelves which can be adjusted, and so that's not much of an issue, except for the fact that, and I'm just going to walk in a little bit closer here, is you've got a couple of shelves. So you've got this sort of basket shelf, and then you've got this more straight shelf here. Now, they're both attached to the same metal rod here. So while these can be moved up and down, and they are certainly something that you can adjust, you have to keep in mind that if I was, for example, to move this down, this is in the way, and vice versa. If I want to move this up, this one's in the way. So when you are in the process of actually assembling this, I think it might be wise to just spend a few moments to think about how you want to organize it prior to actually assembling it. Because if you find out afterwards that, oh, you want to move this down lower, you've got this in the way, and it becomes a bit of an issue, because you're going to have to start taking things apart to actually get these past one another. Otherwise, if I wanted to move this shelf up, there's no issues with respect to that. Likewise, if I want to move this down, there are no issues there. It's just that if you want to cross them in some way, they are going to be in each other's way, just because they're both attached to that middle rod. So again, a bit of pre-planning will go a long way in making sure that you don't have any aggravation later on. In terms of overall strength, these are really heavy duty basket shelves and shelves in general. It doesn't surprise me to hear that this is a heavy duty clothing rack, as I said, just because of the quality of the materials used and just the strength that they exhibit when I was putting it together. Certainly give me a sense that this is something that can certainly hold quite a bit of weight. We're just using it for small things right now, a couple of small boxes, mostly just light clothes, but you can see depending on how you adjust these, you can hold quite lengthy clothes. So for example, trench coats or full long dresses, it's not an issue for this at all. Again, you do have a lot of vertical space to play with. The trade-off again is you get about 48 inches in overall width. Now the last thing I just want to point out when it comes to assembly is this rod that's used to hang the clothes, it's actually a little bit longer than the unit itself. So when you first see that, you might think, oh, you've gotten something that's mismeasured or not accurately measured at the manufacturer. It's actually the way it's done. It's actually nice because you do get a little bit of extra room. The only thing is when you're putting this together, you're just going to have to use a bit of brute force, because what they use is basically a hanger style to hang it over that top grill, and then you just lock it in place. It's just a bit of brute force pushing it in and making sure the hook can reach above that grill and hook over it. You can see this is not straight, it's sort of angled at maybe 30 degrees. So just keep in mind that when you're building that, it's just going to take a bit of brute force to lock it in place. Otherwise, it's really well done there. Now, the other thing I want to point out are all these little slits that you see here. This is not just for aesthetics, but this is actually how these are actually the points where you can adjust shelving to. So here you can see that there are hooks on the side. If I want to move these up or down, it's not an issue as long as I end up putting them in these slots. Now the way you put them in the slots is pretty simple. There are these plastic divots here, which are two pieces which snap together, and then you basically just move them up and down to the location you want, and then they'll snap into that groove naturally. You'll feel it and you'll know that it's locked into place, so that's not an issue. But that's the way the system that they've used, and then these things slot over them and lock in place. So it's a real simple design, but it's been done really well, and I'm really quite happy with the overall quality. The finish is perfect. And again, the use of the vertical space is great. These are quite tall, so keep that in mind depending on the size of your roof. These are just over 70 inches. They should be okay for most standard homes or apartments, so it shouldn't be much of an issue. And then again, the fact that they are using 6 bases here in terms of the caster wheels or the more permanent fixtures just adds greater strength to the overall durability of this. And they've also got the additional shelves, which are quite spacious. So very happy with this overall. And as I noted, they are quite modular, and you do have the ability to store things on top if you want, and if you have the space to do so. Finally, I just want to point out here that again, you in addition to all the shelving that you get, these are quite modular. So if you were to buy another one and put it next to this one, you could actually attach these baskets to one another, to each of the clothing racks if you wanted to extend it that way. So well done, and offers you that ability for future additions if you want down the road. So anyways, this has been a quick little video review of this clothing rack. Again, it's quite great design here with respect to the vertical space, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one. Okay, this is just going to be a quick little review of this clothing rack here, which you can see in front of me here. This is quite tall, which is one of the benefits of this clothing rack. So let's take a quick look at this. So just want to begin by talking about the materials. This is a metallic clothing rack. It is not plastic. It's got pretty good durability and strength, which I'll talk a little bit more about in a moment. It comes with a couple of shelves, so you can see 1, 2 shelves, and then there's actually a third one here on top. Then you've got the rod here for hanging your clothes. These shelf spaces are great for storage, and you can basically customize where you want these to be. So I decided to put them on the bottom, and I decided to put them quite close to one another, but I could have easily moved, for example, this shelf up here or here, but of course you want to take into account the clothes you're going to hang, and I just wanted to leave as much room as possible to allow long clothes such as trench coats and dresses and so forth to be hung without any sort of obstruction. Assembly of this is very simple. It took me probably about 10 minutes to put this together, which is one of the benefits of this. It can be assembled with one individual. I was able to assemble it alone without any issues. It comes with 4 caster wheels. The caster wheels are plastic. And 2 of them do have locks with them, so that you can lock this in place. It's in terms of dimensions, the length here is about 29 inches and the width is about 15 inches. So just keep that in mind as well. In terms of strength really comes from these rods here. And it is made up of a total of 3, so you have 3 separate parts. You have, for example, about a third, and a third, and they basically just screw into one another. It's a really simple process to put this together, and each one of these rods is about 2 centimeters in diameter. So just to give you a sense of just how wide or thick these are, they're about 2 centimeters in diameter. You also get some hooks, which you can see here, and you get another set of hooks which I've put on the other side at about the same height. Again, all of this is quite modular, and you can put these where you want. It uses this very simple process where it uses these clips I've got up in my hand, and you just snap them together and they'll just slide into and lock into one of these little grooves that you can see all along. So any of these grooves are where you can put these things. So this is not just aesthetics, this has got a practical application for this clothing rack, which is where you actually put these things here, and then these little clips, and then you can just slide the hook on top. And the same with the shelf here on top. You can see the little clip hanging out on the bottom, and then I just slide this on top and it locks into place. So really simple, again, really simple build, something that an individual can build on their own. It took no time at all, just a few minutes to put it together, and it's relatively strong. I'm pretty happy with it, but in terms of overall value, I'm just going to talk about a couple of things here. So first of all, again, you're getting about 29 inches in length, and the clothing rod here is about 29 inches. What you will notice is when you do put this together is this will move slightly, which is fine. It's designed that way. And in addition to that, again, you do have a limited space here in terms of how much clothes you can hold in terms of the 29 inches in length, but you do also get the hooks as well. So you got 4 hooks here, and then you got 4 hooks on the other side, and again you can put those at various levels based on your needs. Now in terms of value, when I compare this with others on Amazon, and I do have a clothing rack by the same company here, and if you pay up just a few more dollars, you can actually get a lot more value with their heavier or heavy-duty clothing rack, which I think is a much better value than what you're getting with this, simply because you're getting a lot more space, you're getting a lot more storage space, and the rods here are considerably thicker. And that makes a big difference in terms of when I'm actually trying to move this. This one will move, it doesn't have any problems, but when I compare it to others that I've reviewed, and I've now reviewed a number of clothing racks, you certainly can find something where it is considerably stronger, including by the same company on Amazon. And I think those offer better value, because this is the type of item that you're probably going to purchase once, and you're probably not going to be purchasing very many of these, and certainly not frequently. It looks fantastic in terms of the aesthetics, and I really do like the fact that again, they make good use of the vertical space, much better than many others that I've encountered and reviewed. It is certainly worth keeping in mind that if you have a tight space, that again, you've got a lot of room here in terms of the vertical, and you do have different areas of storage. And again, just to repeat, you can put these shelves at various levels that you feel are most helpful to you. But overall, not bad. Certainly, I would recommend it. But in terms of value, I think that if you are just willing to pay up a little bit more, you can certainly find a lot sturdier and a lot stronger and a lot more room in terms of the length of the clothing rod and how much articles of clothing you can hang on some of these other clothing racks. But if this is what you have in terms of space and you need something that's small, economical, and quite high in terms of vertical, makes good use of the vertical space, this is certainly an option that I would consider. So anyways, this has been a quick little review of this clothing rack, and hopefully we'll see you on the next one.
Not really happy with it, but I need it right now. Heavy duty. Way not heavy duty. Not even close. And these, it's like a guitar string. These are very, very solid. So my review on this rack, I'd give it a C or D+.
Pretty cool.